and being considerate when asking for help when you're doing that on the corner. So
I guess my thing was, does this really require the Supreme Court to get involved?
it shouldn't.
I mean, like,
It's a local issue.
right? Has it really gotten to that point that the Supreme Court needs to make a decision on, as you said, a local thing, whether the mayors, because they have all kind of laws now in different states, one being in Florida about homeless camping.
Yep.
So why can that not be the same, trajectory for other states? Why have to take it all the way to the Supreme Court to decide, the First Amendment? I already don't like some of the homeless restrictions there is that, that's already out there. But this will go back to what you said. There is a difference between a need and harassment. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it's a very fine line in between those two, because we see a lot of times where people are trying to ask for things, but almost push you away or start like cussing you out in the middle of the street. And I'm like, hello, you the one asking me for money. So I would see the need to say, but is that considered free speech? That is free speech, but is it now, the question for me is whether or not they're saying, well, if you're on public space, that's when we now have the ability to restrict it.
Well, there's certain corners or certain areas where they put up signs that say no panhandling or no soliciting and things of that nature. But again, that is a local ordinance. That's not something that is coming from the Supreme Court, which I think is absurd. You're wasting time when you could be ruling on other matters that are more important. But it also makes me think about the children who are sometimes out there doing like various car washes or selling waters or candy treats for like their sports or whatever like that. So it would impact them too, not just about our unhoused brothers and sisters who are on the
and now that would be the problem that I would have, is because now what I've always said about the young men or women who's out there with those sports team or nonprofits is that those who lead those, I think it would come off better if they allowed them to present themselves. Not the sports team. I know most of the time see them with the football helmets and stuff, but some of the other groups out there with, the slides, they got, it looked like they just woke up that morning and came outside. Now that's the problem that I had, because I think that the representation can sometimes make people feel like, is this really, are you really using this for what you say you're using for? And that in turn, so this is not me saying we need any restrictions. This is me saying you guys that lead these things, encourage our community. And I do. When I see, especially our black young men, when I see them at Walmart or different places, and I tell them straight up, I said, hey, you would probably get a lot more support by just changing your presentation. Sure. Because people are looking at you like, brother, if I give you this $20, you really put it to it, or you just gonna go out and
well,
buy
sometimes
something?
You see folks now who are panhandling, they're very upfront about what they want the money for.
Oh, yeah.
They'll have a sign that says, hey, give me $20, I want a beer.
Right,
or hey, I'm trying to get a cigarette.
Right.
So I think we've seen a change of how folks are going about soliciting for help now. Because they know, like, hey, you asking me for this money, but then there have been cameras or sometimes where there are people who actually watch the folks who are asking for the assistance. They'll be watched and they see like, oh, they actually driving a Mercedes-Benz, or they actually have a whole, family that's waiting for them around the corner. So that sign or like them asking for help really wasn't genuine. It was disingenuous. And
and we're moving on, but I seen some stuff. I seen some people walk away by the time the sun go down, and they in wheelchairs, but pop up pushing the wheelchair.
Well, God can do it. God is a healer.
He is, just for them hours till they get back. In congressional testimony, Maryland Governor Wes Moore calls Republican redistricting efforts political redlining. So let's dive right into this. There is a lot of this going on, though. I think we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, where all through the country is getting ready to be. But I would say something, because now that you think about it, like the general election is in November. So the midterm. Well, the midterm general election is in November. How can we even have time to be able to shift everything in this time, that means you're shifting districts, that means you're shifting constituents, and that also means that you're shifting candidates from where they have to go put their focus, which could in turn end up being more money spent, because now if I'm already getting my campaign literatures and stuff together for this, now I'm having to potentially have to change all that, which is more money put out versus back to what I'm saying I'm doing for my constituents. So
I would agree with that, and it would also add more confusion as to polling places for certain people. Like if you're doing a whole redistricting of a certain area, people have become accustomed to where they go. Like, oh, I cast my vote at the library down the street. And if you're saying like, no, you're actually not in that district anymore, you are now 2 streets over, like that could cause more confusion. The ballot deadlines, like, voting by mail deadlines may change. There's a lot that goes into this whole process. It's not just about one party gaining control. It's a trickle-down effect that's going to impact folks.
And that probably is the reason why it only happens every 10 years, because it's so much involved in that type of shift. And for me, I'm all for Republicans having more seats, of course, but I do know that our okay, now I'm trying to be nice, but I'm all for it. But our seniors, the biggest voting block is normally those who are, a lot older. They're consistently and persistently at the voting poll. And I remember running a couple of years ago when we did have the 10-year shift, where I had so many emails, so many phone calls of confusion, because they're like, Willie, am I in your district? Am I not? Hey, I live over here. I was in your district. Why did they do that? I didn't even get a new card, a new voter registration card. I didn't. And they're like, and that's what bothers me, is because we're now having to answer the questions of, these citizens who are voters on behalf of a government that decided to make the shift and changes themselves without spending the dollars to be able to send out the proper documentation to those people. And
not even just that. Some people don't know in certain states like Florida, right, where the rolls, the voting rolls have been wiped clean if you are generally a vote by mail person. So now every year you have to re-enroll into casting your ballot by mail, whereas it's usually just rolls over and you can do that. But that's a new practice in addition to all these other laws that are coming down the pipeline. So it's unfortunate, although it favors one particular party, and we've talked about this before, who has a supermajority. That's usually how redlining goes, and gerrymandering. But I do think, to Governor Westmore's point, it is a political redlining. And I say that because he is he's the only black governor that we have in this country. And there's only been 3 black governors in the entire history of our nation. And so that is mind-blowing when you really think about it, how long we've been around as a country compared to him being the 3rd person of color, a man holding this type of seat. And so redistricting is happening all across this nation, but it's just coming at an odd time. And it's like all eyes are now on the midterm election. I don't recall, since I've been able to vote, a midterm election being such like a debacle right now.
I mean, it's almost,
it's a huge focus.
It's almost, I think it's going to be probably larger than what we went through in 2024.
Yes,
the
I would
presidential
agree.
Campaign. Because by the time 2028 get around, we know President Trump can't run again. So, it's going to be definitely, this is going to be it for a lot of people, because they're looking at it like, these are the people we're going to have in office for the next 2 years, which is basically the duration of the time before President Trump leaves. So y'all buckle your seat.
It's a lot happening, y'all.
They're trying to get Byron Donalds. He might be he might be I'm not. Anyway, sick care versus health care. Why America treats illness, not wellness. America spends more on health care than any country in the world. Yet chronic disease, obesity, anxiety, and burnout keep rising. We're great at treating illness, but terrible at preventing it. From food systems to pharmaceuticals to insurance incentives, the question is whether our system is designed to keep people healthy or keep them dependent on treatment, and I think that's what it is.
Oh, absolutely, it's the latter.
Yes, and that's why I'm against these mandatory vaccines. See how I put it?
I knew there was something coming. I was like, I'm bracing myself. You just never know what these Republicans.
That's why I'm against these men, because That's pharmaceuticals. And I believe in the natural, just a simple natural way to do it. You know, these days, our children, from our children on up, are just pumped full of medication all the time. And I feel like that we don't even know who the real people are oftentimes. And not that there's not a time we need it, but I feel like it becomes a dependency on it. And then I feel like the more, for myself, if I go in somewhere, I remember when I had the car accident in October, and I generally had things that they had to check in my body. But by the time I finished all them exams every week, they came up with a list from what is it, cardiac shadow, something on my brain, this and that. And I'm saying, dig a hole and go ahead and throw me in it. Because they listen to all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. And then like, okay, so we need to do this treatment. We need to do that. And then I'm just thinking about, and I'm looking at the sheet that I have to sign off, and each one of them had a price tag for everything they had me to do. And so I believe that America, we have an issue with just feeling like all we have is these people to keep making us pay for all these services, but we don't promote general health overall, like the mental well-being or going to the gym. Why are there not discounts or federal discounts on us going to the gym? Send us some money every month for us to go get a gym membership. You know, those are things that
that would be a great incentive universally, just like free healthcare universally should be a thing. But we haven't gotten to that point in our American system. So,
but that would tank the system if we had free healthcare.
Well, we've seen success stories with other countries.
Which ones? Canada?
They are doing it successfully.
Canada is the most.
We don't got to go into that today. Because what you're about to say is opinion-based. It is not factual.
It is.
But we can talk about that.
We can bring it together.
We can bring that together.
They woke.
Very much so woke. It's not a horrible term to say. But I do think that America has crippled us in depending on the healthcare system. It starts with our food. There are a lot of processed food that we are now eating, especially even the vegetables, the lettuce. There's things happening with the lettuce. I just saw something the other day.
They're making it.
You're making lettuce. And then they're doing something to the organic bananas. It's just like, yes, it may say organic in the store, but then is it really organic or is it lab grown? We just don't know. So now I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to live in fear. I'm just going to say my grace. I'm going to thank the Lord, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to eat in peace.
Yeah, I started with our boys trying to start this growing stuff and just really like researching a lot of it because it's so many things are processed now. Yeah. And for me, like earlier today, I was just not feeling 100%, but a lot of it was because of the food. Like I had started the juicing, and then I just said, oh, let me eat this, and then I was like, man, so I ordered. I did not feel like going there and doing all the juices are very messy. So I didn't feel like going there, so I went and ordered the different drinks that had spirulina and stuff in to kind of like help get my system boosted. And it's just interesting that I immediately felt what my system went through by eating something that was processed. Yeah. And so, for me, I'm not telling y'all eat how you desire, but if we're already short. They just came a report. I'm taking a little side note. Y'all bear with me in Jesus' name. But they just said that the new middle age is now 38. And that
for both men and women?
Yeah, because now they're saying that the average person only lives to be 77.
Mercy.
And so I'm like, I'm 38.
Right.
So anyway, we got to do something about that so we can live. Because the Bible says we're promised 120 years.
That's what he say now. If you believe in it, that's what he say. But also, I know we have to move on, but it makes me think of Dr. Sebi.
Yes.
And the conspiracy theories say that the government killed him because he was teaching people how to heal themselves with natural remedies and natural foods and all the things. And so just dropping that in your
Well, that's what they said happened to Aaliyah. She was on her way to get some truth from him.
That's right.
What was his other name?
Ooh, got a point.
What was his name? Oh, Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle.
And when Nick Cannon, y'all know we really get into it now.
It's Black History Month.
When Nick Cannon went to start trying to finish what Nipsey Hussle did, that's when he stopped because he was like
he was getting too deep.
He was getting too deep because there is information about our health, and for whatever reason, the government would love for us to stay censored and sick. I'm just saying that out there. Don't come for us because I am a Second Amendment carrier.
We better move on.
And I'll meet you at the door.
We better move on.
All right. It's great news for our Haitian brothers and sisters living in America today. A federal judge halted the end of TPS for Haitians yesterday. Let's get right on into it.
Yes.
Now, see, I paused. No, I'm not. I just paused.
Don't piss
see,
me off.
there y'all go already. Y'all right here with your fingers on the key.
You're pausing.
But no, I do appreciate this. But I want to point out a thing. The TPS, the T in the PS stands for temporary.
Protected status.
Right, temporary protected status. So how long was it supposed to last anyway? Is it something that's renewed, and how often? I really don't know all that part, but how long is it supposed to be in a renewal status? So when am I supposed to go back and, I'm not Haitian, I'm saying it like I'm Haitian, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? When are we supposed to go back and see those changes or the renewal of it?
That's a fair question. I don't know the exact length of time that the status is set for, but it appears that it was granted to Haitians in 2010 after the earthquake that their country endured. And so after 2010, they were able to come here on TPS. And so it's been renewed a number of times. I don't know if it's like 3 to 4 years at a time. I have no idea how long that cycle is. But since 2010, they've had TPS granted here in the States, and it has now been renewed. And so I'm sure the government is going to appeal that what the judge did yesterday, because it would have ended today. Today would have been the day that.
So my question is, my question is, like, do you feel like it could be also abused if it's renewed often? Like, is it actually still needed today if it was just during the part of a safety concern because of what was happening with hurricanes? And we know that sometimes over in countries like Haiti and Jamaica and Bahamas, that when storms hit, it hits them a lot harder because they don't have the government foundation like we do to be able to get themselves together, or and I mean by foundation, the finances to be able to do it, or the resources even in some of those places. And I would say this, now we'll tour these countries quick. We'll take a vacation, so I would say that we should help with that, because we do have a lot of resources that come from there. But to me, it's like, can this be in place since if it's 2010 and here we're looking at now with 2026? Can it be something that maybe the government is saying, when do we just pull our hands back and not keep, giving these statuses? If that's what and this is all. I'm not trying to be no shady.
I don't feel like you're being shady at all. I think it raises a good question. TPS is not just for countries that have a natural disaster. It is also because their country is either unsafe physically, or their economy is extremely low. So if they are battling financially and they're like, I want to go to a better country who, I can feel safe, my family will be provided for, then that's how they are able to get TPS granted here in the States. So it's not just a natural disaster. It's also because of the economic issues that their country may be facing.
So now I'm not in D.C., but this is interesting because we're going to have this conversation just quick. So maybe if we did a 10-year status and give them a 10-year, but with them being able to come back and submit documentation of the progress that they have made while in the country, allowing them to have permanent status. Is that not something that could be put in there that's like, hey, we'll give you 10 years to get you, your family, everything together, but when you come back, you need to present the fact that you can maintain yourself here without any status, and that you're going to go through the due process to become a United States citizen. That's going to be our deal. If you come here, we don't want you just going back and forth at will, just like it's an open visa, but you're going to come here and you're going to be a citizen of the United States.
I'm sure they have some type of stipulations or guidelines that they have to abide by. I don't think we should micromanage how often they come into the States, especially if they are here in the States to provide and earn a livable wage, and they are usually the ones that are able to send that money back to their family. I don't think we should police how often they come and go.
But you get most countries micromanaged. Like when you go get certain visas, it tells you like you have re-entry only for 6 months, and then you have to leave that country and go to any other country but that one and be there for at least 30 days or so many months before they even let you come back, because they don't want you to be propped up in there if you ain't benefiting some stuff.
I hear that, but we are the United States, and we pride ourselves
on not United countries.
We pride ourselves on being the country of freedom and liberation. and, you know, a melting pot of all sorts, then we should uphold that ideal. That's all I got on that.
Shakia.
Yes, sir.
We are upholding it, but we can't. What, we're going to take the other 197 countries out there and just say, like, oh, okay, we are the United Countries.
We are.
Now, Shakia, I know you don't believe, because some of them countries come over here and done hacked our heads off. They don't like, some don't like black people, and some don't like women.
Where is President Trump from originally?
New York.
No, he's not.
Where's he
Where
from?
is his people from?
What's his people from?
You know where your daddy from? You know where your daddy from, Willie?
I'm weak.
Tomorrow, let's talk about that. Let me know where your daddy from, and we can talk about it being.
Well, you list where you guys' daddy is from, and then we'll talk about it. So put in the comments, where is your daddy from? That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow.
That's so messy.
Let's talk, because we got a little bit wrap up. It's Black History Month, and I want to do this, even though we are not able to see it, but I want to talk about this. Okay. We're going to talk about why it is important that we celebrate, and I want to do this we're going to do this all month long, so I want you guys to comment what you like about Black History Month and what you think we should discuss, and we'll get those comments, but I'm turning it back over into the lovely hands of Shakia.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, my favorite quote, and I have this on all of my email signatures, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. That is from the late, the beautiful, my soror, Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm is the first Black woman to run for president of the United States, who sought the Democratic Party's nomination in 1972, campaigning under the powerful slogan, "Unbought and unbossed," to challenge both racial and gender barriers in politics, paving the way for future trailblazers like Mrs. former VP Kamala Harris and those alike. So shout outs to my soror of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and all the women who are in politics fighting for liberation for us all. This is Black History Month, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you guys tonight. I am Shakia Hinton.
And I'm Willie Montague.
We will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.